Hi everybody, it's Alex, and today podcast is actually I was looking at the notes and it make me chuckle the things I wanna talk about today. And welcome. This is episode 12. I'm glad you're here from the abyss of the internet, broadcasting to almost literally to myself and to my couple diehard fans. So I welcome you back again. Stay tuned, and today episodes are really, really exciting. And let's jump into it right away. Recent find. Let me share you the recent find. Joey Diaz. Maybe you heard it, maybe not. He's actually stand-up comedian in California. He's been on stage for 20 years. Was making his name, being in the movies, and being absolutely hilarious guy. He had a really successful podcast, The Church of What's Happening. And what's interesting, this podcast was really not dependent, but the guest always been different guests, but it's not about them. They had just fine topic, but the energy and adrenaline between the guest and the joy was you could feel it. You could feel the energy, the adrenaline, and the voice, and that passion that talkers have about it. But my recent find is actually Joey Diaz making his podcast on his platform with only himself talking about stuff. Basically, he's talking the same stuff. Basically, he's talking the same Joey Diaz that I love and recognize. His life is legendary. To be honest, he's been living like a movie character. Things that he do and still do, it's unbelievable. It's hard to believe that it actually can happen. But the way he talks, the way he gives that feedback, and how much real this person is, really make me be inspired by him. But what my find it's his recent series of podcast that he sits and talking by himself, which is kind of interesting to see. He doesn't look tired. He doesn't look too don't care or something. But the energy sort of gone. The same things I will absolutely laugh off. I'm just maybe chuckle. Not because it's not funny, not because, but the energy he sends it out. It's different when he sends out to the camera, or between he sends out to the person. Also, the pressure not to be chilled, and the pressure not to talk. Like, you have to talk whenever, like, as you can see, I'm keep talking, and even I'm making mistakes, I'm stumble, but I have this inner energy. I gotta talk. I gotta keep it running. I gotta say something smart, right? I gotta say something worth your time. But it actually doesn't matter, right? I can give you the real truth right now, and give you the views of the most wise people right now on this planet. It's not gonna give you anything in life. What is really important, and I want to give you that as a giveaway right now. What's really important is the rule of life. Don't be a pussy. That's it. Just don't be a pussy. Just do it. This is the genius of the genius sentence that Nike do. It's actually worked. Just do it. You have thousand of voices to say yourself it's never gonna work. There is a competition. People won't buy my product. But if you believe in your product, if you believe in yourself, and it's so gimmicky to say, but I'm actually using that, not in this podcast, because my podcast is like, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? I have no idea how to promote myself, right? I have no idea. I actually have idea, but I don't want to work like that. I don't want to go by the rules. I've seen how the content being made and being pushed and being popular and viral, and I respect their hustle, but I'm not gonna ask for a platform to, push me out, or ask for the people. Just imagine yourself, there's a communities of people, they asking listen for listen, and I'm like, what? Like, I do understand back then was the thing to grow your Instagram or any social account. You do follow for follow, right, on the Twitter, which is hilarious. Why do you need the Twitter followers anyway? But listen for listen, like, come on. I was sitting looking at their content and thinking myself, why would I even listen to that, just to get my chance to, like, I don't want I don't want person to listen to my podcast if he's with this mindset. I want you to have a mindset of somebody who can get it. You actually can get it. There's no excuse. I've seen people grow, and the only thing they say, don't be a pussy, just do it. There is the scare and adrenaline and excitement at the same time, but if you stay with yourself, if you're only gonna think about yourself and how it's so simple to go back, it's so simple to back off and give yourself excuse, right? Right now I have an interesting side project, just side hustle, okay? That's a hustle. And at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, what I did. What did I just did? Like, people gonna, now I put a little bit effort, a little bit money, and now I'm gonna get this feedback and some orders, and I'll have to do it. And I called the customer and I talked about this gig. It's actually like an acting gig. And she was so fun. She was so fun about it. She was excited that I called, and she was like, "Are you the real?" Like, I'm not gonna like talk about the gig itself, but the energy I've received, it's actually energy that made me just turn on the button and start to podcast, because I was preparing myself. As you remember, I taking ton of time to prepare myself to start a podcast. It's getting like 11 p.m. when I'm ready and tired. Still tired right now, but the energy is much better than I'm making it in midnight. So let's talk about next, like the real exciting things. So this was one of my finds to share with you about monologue podcasting. About it, encouraged me. The person like Joey Diaz, who he have a crazy experience with the crowd. He needs crowd, and I do understand what is it to be in front of the crowd, because on adrenaline you can say things that you didn't even expect from yourself, and you'll be like, wow, I nail it, and I have no idea how. But let's come back to the real world. Right now it's almost the week before Christmas or New Year, couple of days before Christmas, and the New Year is coming up too. And I can't stop bragging about my about the project of a Christmas tree. That's an experience I really enjoy. Just looking at it, like watching is like your favorite car, but it's not even that. But it's a car I've made that, not alone, but the energy that gives me, the connection to the connection to the holidays, but To be honest, right now it's not even raining. The rain is gone. There was a couple days of rain. There's no waves. Hello, I'm coming back to my roots, surfing, and winter is the day. It's the best days to surf. Like right now, it's empty. The flat is just flat curve. No rain. Sun is outside. I'm still in a t-shirt, but the Christmas tree is giving me that joy of the days I was when I was young, when I was little, back in the Soviets. Maybe we had no money, we had no food, but the memory of, and this is right, this is not the memory I'm missing. I don't care. I was not eating enough. I don't care about it. Not right now. I took care of taking care of myself. But I do care about the summer camps I had, about the Christmas tree we had. Like I remember we had crazy big Christmas tree in the middle of the city, and we're like small city with a small population, but the snowballs, the games, the everything. It was absolutely things to remember. And I'm glad. I'm glad I wasn't eating so much chocolate that the kids these days. I'm glad that it turned out well in the end, right? As the story description gives, I'm coming from the neighborhood where people you could one day I've let me explain one of the things in my description. I've wrote that you got mocked by neighborhood people, like boys, for being fresh. And this is completely different from the let's say United States. In United States, you actually have to be fly. Even if you're poor, your shoes gotta be fresh. And in Russia, it's completely different. In the Soviet Russia, you've been fresh. Like, what do you think of yourself? What are you like? You're poor. What are you wearing those? Why are you wearing those? Put something simple. Put like something that we are wearing. What, you got Nikes? Are you serious? You got Nikes over here? Where do you get those? Are you stole those? Nobody will be. You have to give them. No, this is my grandpa. I give it from the Moscow and everything. And they're like, oh, like, man. They're looking at you some type of way. I remember I haven't worn them for a long time because I was first of all I was scared to get them dirty and damage them or wear them off. So I was really keeping those Nikes, and I was really sneaky about wearing them, like really in special occasions. And the Christmas was amazing back then. I remember small details. One of the things that was really bad there, it was the firecrackers and the fireworks. That was a bad idea. The kids were like throwing them in trash cans, throwing them in a. I've seen like in front of me that happened. The woman is having the plastic bag, right? Like the supermarket nice plastic bag, not the loose one, but with a picture on it. She was handling the bag in her hand, and I see the little, just the kids coming up, throwing the firecracker inside the bag, running away. It's blowing up. She's scared. The milk inside the bag is like blowing up. Bag is blowing up all over. I felt so sorry for her, and that was like one of the pranks. Let's say not too bad. Let's say not too savage pranks, but it was. I felt bad about it, and I didn't like it. I didn't like firecrackers. I didn't like that. I like to use those like as you should, but whenever people try to make some dangerous stuff, I wasn't like really liking it. So I hope you enjoy the festives, Christmas coming up. Uh, Another, reason to come back to real life, to come back to what was important before all this outbreak of the pandemic. And the pandemic, it's not the first time, right? There was many of those pandemics. It's not a new thing. It was happening, right? Couple years ago, we were reading about them. Even couple years right before it, we were making memes about, things that people were actually. Let's not go to the dark side of this, but that was happening. That was actually happening. And what's interesting, that women are really having it bad. I, Especially women are young ones that really care about like their looks. There's like first of all, that's a real proof of like the psychology of women. They have to wear off the mask. Any possibility, they will take it out. I'm sure right now it's the vaccine is coming up, right? So 70% is gonna be probably gonna be a woman. Even if you try to build conspiracies about all the side effects and everything, women were like, come on, screw that, I'm coming. I gotta take off this mask. What about all my lipstick? What about it? The lipstick industry right now is falling. It's like fallen because this is something that women are frustrated. They got like maybe right before then they have like 12 of those. Now they have like 2 or 3 to have around, but it's not really making it. They have to show it. They always try to remove the mask and like, lady, put back your mask, but you can't say it because she right now she's smiling at you, and what are you gonna do? You're not gonna keep the beast away. And interesting about masks, right? The mask is something that we not really liking it, and mask, that's an attribute of nowadays. Like, let's say in Israel, if you wear a mask year before, that could be really weird and suspicious. Right here, where people are really suspicious about the bombers and terrorists and everything, it still exists, that back thought. So if you walk around with a mask, you look really suspicious. Now you can have a mask. Now they're not really checking your bags, they checking your temperature. And the mask, it's interesting attribute. I've listened to interesting podcasts about Venice, the city of Venice in Italy. And they had this interesting trend that they start to wear a mask. The whole city. Right? You know those, the carnival one, like full mask. That was actually their style. And at some point, everyone became wearing a mask. Poor, rich, doesn't matter. More than that, women became passionate about mask too, and women had special type of mask. That's one of the things that made me chuckle. The women had to wear their masks not with the straps that goes around your head, but they had to hold it with the handle that come inside with their mouth. With their mouth. So basically, what that means, they can't talk. Okay. They can't talk. So whenever they going to. And of course, I'm already hear those voices like, what do you mean? What is that? But listen. They go to parties, right? And they having the mask. First of all, how do you attract the man? How do you show him your affection? Right? He's talking to you. He can talk, but you cannot. And you gotta show your affection to him, or if you deny, or the flirt is becoming absolutely new level, absolutely wild type of experience. And today the women cannot even handle the half face. They have to show their lipstick. So everything about you is like lipstick. Okay. We gotta learn from the old ways. I really think about it. I really respect their concept. They were trying something new. They were trying something exciting, right? How about it? None of us gonna sit on let's today something crazy like that. Just coming up right now. I was surfing at Facebook. Oh my god! Do you hear that? I'm at Facebook now. But don't worry, I'm not making any posts. I'm just trying a platform. I'm thinking it's like a playground for me, but for others, it's sort of self-expression. I think I had this talk I had this talk before on the podcast 11 or on a podcast 10 about the Facebook, but I just keep adding people, right, as friends. And sometimes I'm getting responses like, who are you? Or why are you adding me? And it's hilarious. Like, what do you care? Just add. What do you even care? But they actually care. I guess people are organizing and making this real, this is their little garden of people they love, of people that they want to show themselves. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it? It's not even the point of social network. But I'm coming up. I'm going into those Facebook pages and listen. This is kind of creepy. It's all about like showing off. And if it's a woman, they're mostly like if they're young, mostly off showing off the body. It's became like a market. They working so hard for the attention that I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable to be on that platform. And what type of the listeners I will get from there? But it's still, and what's interesting, right? I have a talk. This is the recent discovery. Okay, I have a talk about the platform where you actually can make money from showing off, right? I'm not gonna say what the name of the platform, but if you know, you know. If you don't know, better not to know. I was testing waters there too. And I was checking the content creators on that platform and what type of content they make and how they promote it and how they grab your attention. And yeah, the attention on that platform is actually money. Just to remember, there's a absolute rule of thumb, 10%. That means from everything, it's like 10% will click the page. Out of them, 10% will scroll the gallery. Out of them, 10% will subscribe. Out of them, 10% will tip. And it goes like from top to the bottom for like the chosen ones that suits your platform. So for me, it's a call. It's one of the moments I want to say, like, wake up, people. At the same time, go back to sleep. Come on, don't even try to work about the understanding what reality is. Isn't it most important in our life? Isn't it most important to ask ourselves this question? The nature of reality, the nature of our experience, where it goes. People don't think about their life, people don't think about their death. It's not something that I want you to wake up and think about it, right? It's really depressing, but find the ultimate goal and try to recognize it. Try to recognize of this natural call of all of us to find at least something, not to find the simple explanation. I don't ask you. It's the questions that will never be answered. We have a little bit of explanation, and it's actually so exciting and so deep that, like, people on Facebook, come on, just go back to sleep. Don't even try to wake up on there. This is the road of intelligence. It's the road of discovery and the road of sadness. It's the rule. Intelligence doesn't come with the happiness. Intelligence and happiness, it's the two roads that go like apart. The more you realize, the less you're happy. The more you realize, the more you're happy. The less you think about those things. To find the balance between the happiness and the intelligence, a really important task. To get those views on Facebook stories, come on. To have those listeners for basically like for your attention, it's another, come on, what are you doing? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. Where you punching numbers, who care? I've seen people getting 1,000 100 downloads on their podcast, and I'm really excited about them. It's actually crazy. It's actually inspirational and kind of breathtaking. Like, wow, so many listeners. At the same time, what do I care? What do I care about numbers? I'm not gonna blow up as a Joe Rogan. I'm not gonna become next Bill Burr. Although I hope I'll become like a Joey Diaz. His lifestyle is something that I don't want to live his lifestyle. Okay, first of all, don't go so deep about that. But he's actually that one, the guy who tried everything and took his chances in life. He picked himself up from the abyss, from the darkest corners of soul and life. He just rose and found it, and like he makes people happy. He made more people happy than I can even imagine now. But maybe it's a luck, maybe it's experience, but probably the first rule is he's not pussy. He's somebody who's, I think, I think I had this deep conversation with my close friend about death experience. This is something I wasn't like it's not planned for me right now to talk about, but it's actually makes sense. Joey Diaz he witnessed a death, and since then I think, of course, he became troublesome kid. He made a lot of mistakes, but this experience are stayed deep inside him. This is something that he took with himself to the rest of his life. And it's clicked only by the age 30. It just makes sense. Only by 25 we're making like our brain develop. And lifestyle he was making, it's probably delayed development of brain, but in the end he's clicked. This the life experience that you witness death or you witness something like, yeah, it's basically death experience. Excuse me. After a long day. And whenever you face it, it changes you. And it's new sort of power. How much death we witness in our life? Let's face it. Let's talk about it. Even back like before too, I'm not saying we should live in this in stressful environment like that, but at the same time, what is not stressful environment? We've seen people, strangers, right? Back when we were living in small communities, we had about 150%. That's psychology. It says we can remember only 150 people. And this it comes from the tribal days when we could recognize our tribe. Now we can't. I remember in a summer camp, it's actually yeah, pretty accurate number. This is how many people I've been remembering. But nowadays it's 150 people we can see every day, and this is the stress for us. And this is actually something that we're not used to live like that. And now it's shrunk back again because of the pandemic. The amount of people we see really gradually shrunk up, downgraded. And now we can actually adapt better with the small communities. Why would you want to talk about with the audience of 100,000 people? Why would you want their opinion to be major fact to you? This is big responsibility to be around those numbers, and this having that much following. Even content creators talk about that. I rather to have audience with and respect from people who's actually respectable in my eyes. I actually had a gift of the fate. Sometimes there's a gift of fate. You meet people that you don't expect. You're not really even focused on about that. You're in the middle of work, or you just finished work and you're tired, and you meet somebody and have a just like quick talk. It made me realize, wow, this is the person that talking to him, her, having talked with this person, it's something that like a chance that, wow, Let me be more specific. I was waiting on a elevator after work. I was like in the middle of work, like carrying new computers. There's a lady just asking me, classic question about my tattoos. That was painful for you to do? I'm like, I always like to answer like, oh yeah, absolutely. she's she's like, I guess it is because I had one too. I'm like, what? And she showed me her left wrist, and like above wrist I see the grayed out numbers of a Auschwitz resident. So she's a Holocaust survivor. She's 92. Absolutely not wearing mask in the middle of a pandemic. She doesn't care. And she just started chit chat with me, and the question was like kind of cool questions, right? Like what? Not it's not bother, but it's not even cool questions, but it's like usual questions. Do you have your tattoos have a meaning? Do stuff like that, and she's like basic stuff, and I'm trying to laugh it off and give like a nice talk, and she's asking me if she's even like, does it bother you like I'm talking you out of blue, like this level of self consciousness. She's asking me like, there's some people I've met those annoying old people that they really bother me. They talk to me and talked and talk, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't asked for this. I'm not even keeping the conversation. Like the energy is not mine. Leave me be. But this lady was fun, and we had the conversation. But she still asked me if it's like bothers her, like if she's a bother to me. And we talked a little bit more, and she said she was a social worker here in Israel. Like for 60 years, she's been a social worker, and she was helping people with tattoos to get work or pass job interview. And she said how much time changed, and she said, this generation. I'm like, oh, which was kind of silly of me say, like, we all say about the new generations that they've been like worse than ours, and she's absolutely agreed with me, but I had the correction. Like, your generation is actually off the hooks. I've met people, my grandma, they are steel. They're steel people. They're made of steel. They have no weak spot. Like my mother of my grandma, after post-war, she raised 3 kids alone after a war, and she passed away when she was 94. And nowadays people are like I meet people who like they 20 and they say, oh my god, I can't wait to go to get to retirement. They already retired. And the grace they have, the grace, this is what I'm fascinated by. The grace they give and show to young generation. This is why I don't see in my generation. This is what I don't see. Why do we even have any right to talk about how new generations are bad when we don't have this type of grace as those before us? that was that was fun. I feel I've like lost opportunity to ask maybe something more profound, but you know, I was a little bit blind by the tiredness and the and busyness of this world, of my middle of the job. And that gave me one of the things I was thinking about: new generation. And Joey Diaz talked about it, and he's talked about me. It's not personally me, but my generation having this problem that we get used to things be instant and quick to get, and we have no excuse me, we have no patience. Things are building up years. Things are improving. Anything you do, if you focused, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up, and this is my outro monologue. I'm even gonna give you that outro music to remind. It's not even outro, it's a new thing. I'm gonna make it, right? Ooh. So if you think to succeed in something, don't be so impatient. Don't be so impatient. Be focused. Feel about it. If you're passionate about something and you want to succeed in this, every moment happening right now, it's step closer. Be aware of it. Just be aware of it. Even if you're procrastinating and you do nothing, you played all day video games, you still, the guilt you will feel about not working on your project, it's a work in progress. This is the thing we're gonna fix together. Let's focus on what we really want to create. Let's focus on grow and be patient about it. And when you come back to the first steps you've made, ask yourself, could you even imagine that you'd be there? You'd be on that point of creation. Could you imagine that back then you've been so lame, back then you've been so naive or so bad, and whenever you'll have this feel, that means you're in a progress. That means you have a lot of work to do yet. But let's come back to this episode just to remind ourselves where we've been today, and where we right now. And I'm glad you joined this podcast. My name is Alex, and I'm waiting you next time. Bye.